Hey everyone, this is a clip from a recent episode of Another Pass, where we talk about movies and all the struggles that go into making them. If you like it, check out the whole podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I struggled to find any sense of like caring for what any of the characters wanted. I feel like the deal with the devil with the daughter was introduced a little too late. So like I already didn't really feel invested in her choices or her as a character. And because we had kind of already shifted timelines so much with Christopher Plummer's character, I was like, so what? Like, I'm
Right.
more interested in what's behind the Imaginarium curtain than like what any of these people want or what they're fighting for. And generally, if that's the case with a movie these days, and I have AMC stubs, I just leave because I'm just like, if I'm not invested by minute 40, then you've lost me.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's very interesting that you say that because honestly, like, right, the people go in and there's no actual explanation. Like, he'll be like, oh, I lost another. But it also doesn't follow through to, like, hook you on, like, why it's important. They don't really get to that. They keep it a mystery far too long. So it's like, I was like, wait, is this like an immortal soul thing? I mean, it turned out it was. But, like, I was like, literally sitting there, like, so they went the wrong way, but who's winning that? Because in the beginning, there's not really an explanation. It's just like the person chose not to go up the harder road. And it's like, oh no, we lost one. So it's definitely, and clearly he's just doing it wrong because later Heath Ledger's character clearly does it right. He sells it to them. Total failure on his part. But yeah, no, you're right. The first half of the movie doesn't really do that other than kind of set up maybe some awkward relationships and dynamics in their relationship.
Yeah.
That's all it does. And it's also their awkward relationship with the modern world that you don't quite see, right? Because they're so wrapped up in being this traveling troubadour group that's trying to seek out souls to be on Dr. Parnassus' side in this eternal bet, that everyone they run across, they're just jerks from the real world, and seemingly there's very little consequence to like maybe mid-movie to them disappearing people. It's very, very interesting.
And if the thing that struck me like 2 days ago is if they were really trying to find people who they thought would make the right choice, like if he's really trying to win this bet to save his daughter, why is he parking outside of bars and trying to get people at 2 a.m. who are like clearly assholes? Like, why would you not park outside a church on a Sunday morning and be like, these guys for sure are going to pick the right one and I'll win my 5 today. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of faith in the faithful that I don't know if I share.
A different podcast, my friend.
Maybe. But like, he doesn't even work it so that like, you know, he's got assistance before Heath Ledger comes on. Like, this is me really just criticizing Dr. Parnassus's marketing and like, yeah, who is he trying to recruit and what is he expecting his employees to do in order, this is now a sales podcast, to really get them there, you know? And so like, yeah, you know, a little trickery could have happened. Clearly Heath Ledger's character did that. So maybe you do show up in front of a church and maybe someone appears, you know, use your daughter as the Virgin Mary, or have Andrew Garfield pretend he's Jesus. I mean, you know, please don't come at me. Any complaints can go to case. Do you remember that, guys? Yeah. All I'm saying is they were doing a really bad job, like convincing people of stuff.
That, and it's not the point of the movie. Like, again, what I was saying about like modernity encroaching. Like, if it felt, I mean, yes, we get the vibe that they're not very good at it, but like, if it, like, there's very clear shots of, there's like one shot where a kid is playing like on a Nintendo DS, and there's a shot where like they're playing on phones and so forth and people not paying attention. I like all of those things, but I feel like that needs to be a bigger part of it, and I kind of feel like the movie needed to show us like an earlier period in his traveling show, like 100 years ago, and like set it up as being like, it used to be really big, and that now the world is actually stopping him from being successful at it, and here's like the last embers of what he can put together. Like, he's got Anton and his daughter, but maybe he used to have a crew of like 50. Like like set up this idea that like he actually mastered his craft, but now no one cares about that craft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think that because people are playing video games and they're on their phones, they're not paying attention to what could be the right choices.
Right. And I think the movie is very explicit about at least like people not, like in that first sequence when we get the drunk that goes in there, like there's a lot of people who just don't care. Like the kids don't care about like this like traveling show thing. And I think that's in the text of the movie, but I don't think that it's explored sufficiently to set up the vibe of like, whatever thesis I think that Gilliam is trying to make, and I think that there is something to be said for, kids these days, they don't appreciate like this like craft of an older like filmmaker or this older stage show person, because I think there is like a little bit of just like Gilliam being like kind of crotchety old man here.
Yeah.
Like,
he's sitting on his front lawn.
Exactly. I don't hate that he's doing that, like yelling at Cloud's part, but this is a phase where I don't think the movie is doing enough to sort of sell that. Like it's there, but you have to be like looking for it, and like there's a lot of things that kind of pulled my focus away from that element. And like part of it is like I can't watch this movie and not like look at how they like made it work without Ledger. Like every single shot, I'm like, all right, so how did like what was the shot supposed to be before Ledger passed away versus what we have now? Like there's a lot, and but it's just too small. Like it's every moment is like, oh yeah, well this is what you could shoot for here. You're at weird spots. Like they don't have, aside from Ledger just being like a more successful barker, which is cool, and like they go to a better location and we get like the whole like vibe change where it's like, okay, yeah, now we're appealing to like all these like women and trying to like get them in here, as opposed to like getting kids and like being more of like a carnival kind of thing. Like there is that shift right there, but I feel like we need even more of just like the world just doesn't fucking care about these people, and that he's trying so hard, and he used to have people care about him, Parnassus that is, and like I said, I think it's there in the text, but I don't think it's that they delve deep enough into it.
Yeah, I think if they had sold that, then this con man seeing, because like that's the thing, I think on some level Heath Ledger's character helps and hurts, because it kind of throws you off of this main message. But if they had strengthened that part, as you suggested, Case, I think then this con man coming in to like bring him back into like the fold of being like, you can turn a blind eye then to like the things that he's doing, where he's kind of like preying on people to get their money to feed them, because it's like, well, people are coming to my show again and they're seeing me, and this is wonderful, and we have food, so actually the things he's doing is not so bad. And like the food and that stuff, I guess it works, but it would have had more of an impact had they done what you suggested, I think.
Remember, if you like that clip, check out the podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.